So won't you fly with me? I wanna make you feel alright, alright with.
Hello everyone, this is Alexis with Crazy Creative, and today I'm going to be doing a DIY Halloween craft, which is a mummy jar that I came up with. So, what you're going to need for this is some sort of jar or bottle or whatever you want to use to make your mummy jar, and you're going to need some tacky glue. You may or may not need masking tape, but it's a good idea to have it. A black Sharpie or some type of black marker, some scissors, and a pad of paper, or just a stack of paper. You're going to need a bit of it. So first you're going to need to open up the jar, and you're going to need one of the sheets of paper. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to fold this paper in sort of like an accordion fold. You're just going to keep folding it. Now that didn't fold very neatly, but that's okay because it's a mummy. So, now, you're going to unfold that, and you're going to cut each of these into a strip. Like each one right down the line, or as close as you can to that. I've got all these strips of paper that are going to be basically the mummy bandages. So you're going to take your jar and one of the mummy bandages, and now sometimes it'll end up being, because of the fact that I have such a small jar that I'm using, they won't quite fit, so I'm going to have to cut them smaller. Okay, so as you can see, I cut down the strips to be a bit smaller, and you're going to take the jar and one of the strips, and you're going to basically just shove the strip in the jar. If you have to, you can use a marker or something, like a closed marker, and just kind of push it in there so that it will stay down. And just keep putting these in until you fill the jar with these mummy bandages. But make sure you leave a little bit of space, because there's something else we have to put in there. As you can see, it's not completely full. I left some space. So one thing that you may or may not have noticed that I did when I was making this is I stuck my finger in there to push down the papers, and it got stuck, so I had to go off camera for a second. Definitely use something to push down the papers so that you don't get your finger stuck in the jar if it's a small jar like this. With this bigger jar, what I did was I actually made circular strands and put them in there, because you can tape them together. That's why you could use the masking tape, is to tape together the strands, or you could even use glue and glue together the strands, or use scotch tape or any type of tape to do that. Now, the next step is you're going to need another strand of paper. You don't want to make this one too big for your jar. It can be a thicker strand, but make sure it's not too long. I'm going to cut that down a bit, and there's the strand I'm going to use. Now, what you want to do is you're going to draw eyes on here. So I'll do that real quick, and I'll show you guys. So that's where the marker comes in. And they can be really simple, they can be complex, you can draw little anime eyes, whatever you want to do. So there are the eyes I drew. And then I recommend making it into more of a circular shape so that it'll fit nicely in the jar. Right towards the top so that your mummy has its eyes. Now if you notice, kind of put my finger in there. But you don't want to get it stuck, so be careful. Okay, sorry about that, the video got cut off. So, I have to get the eyes in here. Now, that may be slightly difficult depending on how much paper you put in. I probably put in a bit too much because I can't quite fit the eyes in there. If you have to, you can add more paper afterwards, but you definitely want enough space for the eyes. So I've got the eyes in there. Now I'm just going to kind of shove some extra paper in there to kind of give a bit more of the bandage look. It kind of looks like he has a mouth because it's not completely out. Hold on. Go with that. You can always add more bandages. So I'm just going to kind of explain the next step while I'm cutting a few more bandages. You're going to want to put the top on the jar, and you will be, like, if you have a white top to the jar, it's, it can be a lot easier, because you won't have to glue anything on the jar, but you can if you want to, which I will show you how to do in a moment. Alright, so there's the stuffed mummy. And you can put the cap on the bottle or jar or whatever you're using. And then, as you can see, this one has a white top already, whereas this one didn't. This one had a blue top to it. So basically what you have to do is you're going to need some paper that you have. And you can either measure or you can estimate and cut a little circle out of your paper. So I cut a half circle on a folded part, so I made a circle. And then basically you're going to want to kind of fit it to the size and then glue it on. Now, what I'm going to do, since mine is actually a slightly different type of bottle, this thing pops out of the top and there's a hole through it, I can really just put this either over this and stick it back in there, or I can do it the other way and wrap it. Trim off any of the excess paper so that the top can still go on the jar. You can also use gauze for this, but I prefer to use paper because it's cheaper. I didn't have to buy anything to do this. So there's that. The top's now white. And that is my little mummy jar. So now I have two of them. Little mummies. So, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. If you have any suggestions for the next DIY craft that I could do, you can either message me or leave a comment. So thanks for watching.